Okay, so let's talk about the stock market. Let's talk about the stock market.
That pink colorway new drop?
No, it's been out. It's been out.
That's fire though. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it. Get the merch.
Breast cancer awareness next month.
What happened with SMCI stock?
We're gonna be honest. This is what happens when you ask, is this the new Nvidia? After the run up from Nvidia, was after Tupac died, they put out the little fake Tupac. Wasn't all eyes on me. I told everybody in Stock Club SMCI this was going to happen. It went from 1,010 down to 418 now. If you made money on the rise, that is amazing. But if you can't tell me, A, what is the profit margin? What is the net operating margin? What advantage do they have over AVGO, Nvidia, AMD, Taiwan Semiconductor? Remember like in 02 when everybody was like trying to make the Blueprint 2 and going to Motown and getting the little soul samples, they were sounding like Hove for like 8 weeks, and then Hove came back out. This is what we have here. So if you are holding SMCI, rule of thumb, if you're ever down 20%, cut your losses, find a place to potentially re-enter. I have them going back down to 298. So that may be a price you want to look to getting back in, but it's not looking good for this kind of for this kind of drop for the foreseeable future for this company.
Yeah, it's been a series of bad events, but I don't think this is a company that's going anywhere. In fact, it was up 170%. Yes, at its peak, it's still up 50% year to date. Here's what's happened since August 7th when it slid 20%. They had to adjust their gross profit margin from 11% when they reported it at 70%. First red flag, right? So the reporting is off.
Why about the numbers?
This all right. Here we go. All right. So then on August 27th, so 20 days later, the Hindenburg report came out that they found glaring accounting red flags, evidence of undisclosed related party transactions, sanctions, and export control failures and customer issues. That had the stock drop again, and then almost maybe about a week ago, we saw the stock drop when Wall Street Journal reported that the Department of Justice was looking into the Hindenburg report. So it dropped 12%. Tomorrow, the stock is going to split 10-1. So it's currently
right in time for the scandal.
Where are we trading at right now? About 418. And so 10-1, that brings the value of each share down to about $40, $42. Here's the thing. It does have partnerships. And the number one partnership that it does have is with Nvidia. And when you think about Nvidia, we obviously know that business isn't going anywhere. In fact, it will probably lead the next decade. And obviously, we're going to talk about X when it comes to artificial intelligence and what's after that, maybe artificial super intelligence, which is a topic that hopefully we'll get to talk about. But they partner with them in hardware solutions. And so what does it do? It makes sure that the infrastructure is there for artificial intelligence to perform at a more efficient rate or at a more scalable rate. And so if we're talking about the increase in artificial intelligence, we're talking about the GPUs that are going to be provided for these data centers, you can see how they're going to be moving in the future if they're paired with this company. Does this company go away? No. Was it overvalued? Perhaps, yes.
Absolutely.
10-1 split, it has fallen. And these are some of the metrics that we like if we're talking about investing. Has the equity itself pulled back to a percentage that we like? Now, your percentage was 40%. I like it at 30. Has it done that? Yes. If I'm in the options market and I'm looking into that, if the equity fell 30 to 40%, that means we multiply that by 1.5. Let's say that the options strike price that you're looking at has probably fallen maybe 50 to 60%. Is that something that you like inside that market? Yes. Now, does the company have sustainability? Well, that's when you have to do the deep dive. You have to start looking at some of the fundamentals and say, all right, this is a company that I still want to invest in because it's at a point where it's pulled back and it will rebound. That's the question that we have to answer individually. I think yes. I don't know if it gets back up to 1,000, but we've seen plenty of analysts, they've downgraded it, but the price target is still about an average of 590 to 610. And so if we're looking at it here at 41, obviously cost adjusted, when it splits, it'll be down to 41, and that would just make it 65.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be more affordable. Yeah,
right, more affordable. which leads more people to saying if it's more affordable at that price, usually retail investors start looking into it a little bit differently. I still like it. I don't know at what point because we don't know if this is the floor yet, but I still like the company.
It's not.
I still like the company. Do you still like the company?
Tweet about it now. I hope you get it later. Do a couple splits. Hope you ninjas are saving up. Okay, if they were returning at the same rate Nvidia was, but their profit margin was 8%, while Nvidia was at 45%, why are they giving the same rate of return?
Well, they're not giving that partnership. Obviously, has just been announced. The split was already announced before the fall.
Yep.
They announced the split,
but if they knew,
then once they announced the split, now it's glaring. Now it's like eyes are on this company.
Yep.
3 years ago, nobody was talking about them. This year, we run up 177%. Now it's like, oh, this is a can't miss. Now there's a pullback. It feels like we've seen this play before, where it's like, all right, retail investors, they're coming to this space.
Not to cut you off, but
well, you know how this works.
Yeah.
Right. Let's run this up. Let's pull the rug. Let's reassess this. Let's let it drop down to a point where we can add more to it. Even in Nvidia, right? It was up at 135. It fell down to 97. Does that change the fundamentals of the company? No.
But if we're talking about the fundamentals,
I know, but you're going to go to the profit. I know you're going to the profit margins. We have to see. It's just like what I said with anything in AI. We have to see, is the cost worth it? And so we'll see. We'll see how this plays out, because Supermicro is such a new entity over the past 2 to 3 years. It's the only time we've been talking about it, obviously, since the AI revolution. So we'll see. We got to see where this plays out.
Shout out to all y'all who was mad at me over Nvidia and said I ain't call SMCI, and you thought you was me calling this, and you didn't call it downside. Call the top and bottom. Pause. The profit margin is 8%. This is the hottest fucking sector on earth. And for every $100 that comes in, you're keeping 8 and you're lying about the 17.
Well, they said it was 17 and it was really 11. So we'll see what happens this quarter. They're going to report shortly.
Listen, when Frank Lucas had his premium product, he didn't put it on sale.
So
quality product like Pepsi.
What number? I mean, Nvidia at 48 is ridiculous, right? It's tough to do that. What number would you say, okay, this makes sense? Is it anything above 20%? Or is it
a drop from Nvidia?
No. I'm saying for profit margins for Supermicro.
They at least got to get to 20%.
Okay.
You got to ask. They're in the AI space. You're giving 8% return, 11 if you believe the numbers. Lilly's have a better profit margin than you in a more regulated business.
Well, the expenditure has to go up, right, with the new partnership.
Especially after you lie about the numbers. I'm not moving off that point.
I can't knock you on that.
Y'all made off the books and then still underperformed.
I'm not knocking you on that. I'm not knocking you on the fabricated numbers. What I'm saying, expenditures will go up when you have a partnership.
Yeah, you have to
with the leading person in the space, right? Yeah. There's gonna be more output, so that could be tied into it. We'll see. We get to watch this out in real time.
That's Walmart's going out of business, so all of you kept asking, how can I easily read the stats? Go to Barron's or Yahoo Finance, scroll to the bottom. But if you look, operating cash flow negative 2.4 billion. Diluted EPS is 20.1. Net income averaged 1.2. Like, the numbers are just off for this space. This would be the equivalent of me selling a brownstone in Harlem for 300. It makes no sense to price it here.
Okay.
It makes no sense. But kudos to management. Y'all gotta slow cook the books the next time.
More accurate reporting.
It's close to 17 to 15, not bad, but 17 to 11. I know y'all in the fabrication business, but they didn't mean on the financials, y'all. My Lord. Operating margin 6.47. What?
Is okay. So let's talk about Palantir. Nvidia is a stock that went up obviously a lot over the last couple of years. A lot of people have been looking for the next Nvidia. So is Palantir the next Nvidia?
I said it with Apple. I said it with Microsoft. There is no new X. I know people want it to be. And I've never seen so many black and brown people be excited about the enslavement of themselves for a 3X return. Elon, go make a LaMaga coin if that's the case. I think it's going to be a great company with a troubled timeline forever. But do I think they'll give the gains of Nvidia? No. Will we always be in war? Yes. Is their software incredibly important to what? This is like Blackwater at scale with tech. Okay, I get it. But they're not Nvidia. A lot of the GDP of the country is tied to what Nvidia is doing. So do I think they'll be a power player? Yes. But do I think they'll end up having the same return as Nvidia? No. Mm-mm. And don't believe me. Didn't the CEO just offload a whole bunch of shares when it hit them highs?
Yeah, I think this is a hardware versus software application.
Yep.
In layman's terms, one is fundamentally essential and one is something that is nice to have.
Yeah.
Right? Palantir being something nice to have. Even in that space, are they number one? Do they have the growth potential? You can see, obviously, we talked about it last week when we're talking about who's backing them, and obviously U.S. contracts have played a large role in that.
Yep.
But you can see with the technology, would the U.S. feel comfortable with Palantir working with other foreign entities?
And at some point, you got to make a little derivative software to sell off to Xi Jinping at some point.
So even from the global scalability, you have to look into that. But yeah, I think one obviously, if we're talking about AI and Palantir's role is to create software applications to help the functionality and security of AI, whereas the fundamental purpose of NVIDIA is to create the chips to make sure that this whole structure can be powered. So difference in that, I don't see the growth potential as much in them. Still a solid company. I think top 2 or 3 in the space of cybersecurity, for sure. But yeah, I mean, you got competitors. You got competitors. Whereas we know in the definitely in the semi space, the closest competitors is there's a large distance between 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And they moved the economy. And on top of that, NVIDIA has no close competitor per se. And going back to that profit margin, everybody put in chat, what's the profit margin for Palantir? Everyone keeps asking all these in-depth ass questions about what's the formula post-invest fast. What is the profit margin?
How much money are they making?
Yes, that shit matters, whether you like to believe it or not.
For every dollar spent, we got to put that part in, right? For every dollar spent, how much do they make?
Yes. You can't do that counting in an Excel sheet like our homie used to do.